Hello friends, welcome back, and if you're new to our channel, thank you for stopping by. Today I have a beautiful and easy knitting pattern to share with you, for which we need stitches in the multiple of 4 plus 2. So I have taken 4 sevens are 28 plus 2 30 stitches, and it is a 4-row pattern. Let's start off with the first row of the pattern. The 2 stitches at the end are the stitches for stitching. So the first stitch I am going to do a knit, yarn forward. It's going to be a purl. Actually it is 2 number of purl and 2 knit, since it is the edge stitch, so I did a knit. Now yarn backwards, 2 number of knit, yarn forward, 2 number of purl. So this is the sequence for the first row of the pattern. Yarn backwards, 2 number of knit, yarn forward, 2 number of purl, yarn backwards, 2 number of knit, yarn forward. We are going to work 2 number of purl. So this is the first row of the pattern. It is a beautiful and easy pattern, perfect for beginners. Beginners who are into knitting should try this pattern. Yarn forward, 2 number of purl, yarn backwards, 2 number of knit, yarn forward, 2 number of purl, yarn backwards, 2 number of knit, 1 and 2, yarn forward. It is supposed to be 2 number of purl, but I'm going to do 1 purl, and the edge stitch I'm going to do a knit because I want a nice edge at the end. Now moving on to the second row of the pattern, please watch this step carefully. The edge stitch is slipped off. After that I am going to work 3 number of purl, 1, 2 and 3. So 3 purl plus the first stitch makes 4. So 2 of the stitches I am going to remove to the left needle. Now put my yarn at the back and bring back the stitches again to the right needle, yarn in the front again, 4 number of purl. That is all we do. Please watch, 4 stitches we just purled. Now 2 stitches I am going to transfer to the left needle, yarn goes back, 2 stitches back into the right needle, yarn forward again, 4 number of purl. So that is all we have to do for the second row of the pattern. So 4 number of purl is done, 2 stitches taken to the left needle, the yarn goes at the back, 2 stitches back in the right needle, yarn forward, 4 number of purl. This is the only step that we have to do carefully. 2 stitches back in the left needle, yarn backwards, the stitches we put back into its place again, yarn forward, 4 number of purl. Again the 2 stitches we are going to take back into the left needle, yarn taken to the back side, the stitches are returned to the right needle, yarn forward, 4 number of purl, 1 2 3 4. Again the 2 stitches taken to the left needle, yarn taken at the back, the 2 stitches returned to the right needle, yarn forward, 4 number of purl. Let's repeat the steps again. 2 stitches we take to the left needle, yarn taken at the back, the stitches are returned to the right needle, yarn forward, the edge stitches, one is a purl and the next one we do a knit. Let us move on to the third row of the pattern, which is very easy. The edge stitch is slipped off. After that it's a knit. Now we are going to work 2 number of purl, yarn backwards, 2 number of knit, yarn forward, 2 number of purl, yarn backwards, 2 number of knit. Actually if you look at the stitches you'll understand The curly stitches are supposed to be the pearl and the V stitches are supposed to be the knit. So this is how we are going to work the third row of the pattern. 2 number of pearl, yarn backwards, 2 number of knit, yarn forward, 2 number of pearl, yarn backwards, 2 number of knit, yarn forward, 2 number of pearl, yarn backwards. Again it's going to be 2 number of knit, yarn forward, 2 number of pearl, yarn backwards, knit, and the edge stitch I'm going to purl because I want a straight edge. So the third row of the pattern comes to an end. Here our pattern has already started showing. Now let's work the fourth row or the final row of the pattern. After this we are just going to repeat. The edge stitch is slipped off, yarn forward. We are going to work 3 number of pearl. So 3 pearl plus the first edge stitch makes 4. Now the shifting of the 2 stitches back into the left needle, taking the yarn behind and returning the 2 stitches to the right needle, yarn forward. We are going to work 4 number of pearl. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now let's return the 2 stitches back. Let's take the yarn behind the right needle, 2 stitches being brought to the right needle, and then again 4 number of pearl. So this is how this step is to be worked. This is the fourth row of the pattern. Yarn forward, 4 number of pearl again. This is all we have to do. The repeat pattern is working 4 number of pearl, shifting the 2 stitches into the left needle again, yarn backwards again, moving the stitches to the right needle, yarn forward, 4 number of pearl. Now again shifting of the 2 stitches back into the left needle, moving the working yarn behind the right needle, and then getting back the stitches back into the right needle, yarn forward, 4 number of pearl. See how easy the pattern is. The freshers can easily work the pattern, and the best part is the pattern comes out really well. Yarn being taken backwards, the 2 stitches being shifted to the right needle, yarn forward, 4 number of pearl. Now again I am going to shift the 2 stitches to the left, yarn being taken at the back side of the right needle, shifting of the 2 stitches, yarn forward, a pearl. The edge stitch is going to be a knit. So the fourth row of the pattern has come to an end. So our first set of pattern is done. Work the pattern again. The edge stitch is slipped off. After that it's a knit. Yarn forward, 2 number of pearl, yarn backwards, 2 number of knit, yarn forward, 2 number of pearl, yarn backwards, 2 number of knit. So this is the sequence that we are going to work till the end of this row. So let us continue with 2 number of knit, yarn forward, 2 number of pearl, yarn backwards, 2 number of knit, yarn forward, 2 number of pearl, again yarn backwards, 2 knit, yarn forward, 2 number of pearl, yarn backwards, it's a knit, and the edge stitch I'm going to work a pearl because we want a straight edge. This is how it looks. Let us move on to the next row. The edge stitch is slipped off, yarn forward, 3 number of pearl, 1, 2 and 3. So 3 pearl plus the first stitch makes 4. So now the shifting of the 2 stitches into the left needle, the yarn being taken at the back and the 2 stitches shifted back to the right needle, yarn forward, again 4 number of pearl. Now again 2 stitches I am going to shift to the left needle, the yarn being taken at the back, 2 stitches shifted to the right needle, yarn being brought in the front, and then I am working the 4 number of purl. Now let us do it again carefully. 2 stitches back into the left needle, yarn being taken back, again the stitches shifted to the right needle, yarn forward, 4 number of purl. See how easy the pattern is and how pretty the patterns are looking. Shifting of the 2 stitches, taking of the yarn at the back, again returning the 2 stitches to the right needle and working 4 number of purl. So that is all we have to do. This is the only step that we need to do carefully. Other than that, it is very easy. Yarn forward, 4 number of purl. Now let us shift the 2 stitches into the left needle, yarn taken back, again giving back the 2 stitches to the right needle, yarn forward, 4 number of purl. Let's do the process again. The 2 stitches are being shifted to the left needle, yarn being taken back, 2 stitches shifted to the right needle, yarn forward, a purl, yarn backwards. The edge stitch is going to be a knit. See, this is how a beautiful pattern looks. Now let's work the wrong side of the pattern. The edge stitch is slipped off. After that I worked a knit, yarn forward, 2 number of purl, yarn backwards. It's going to be 2 number of knit, yarn forward, 2 number of purl, yarn backwards, 2 number of knit. Where it's a V stitch we need to work knit, and where there is a curly stitch we are going to work a purl. So this is how we are going to work this particular row. I think now you're believing that it is indeed an easy pattern. Yarn forward, 2 number of purl, yarn backwards, 2 knit, yarn forward, 2 number of purl, yarn backwards, a knit, yarn forward. The edge stitch is going to be a purl. So this is how a beautiful pattern looks. Now let's work the pattern again. The edge stitch is slipped off. After that it is going to be 3 number of purl. See, 3 number of purl plus the first stitch makes 4 number of purl, yarn backwards, shifting of the 2 stitches, yarn forward, again 4 number of purl. This is how we are going to work this particular row again. See how easy it is. 2 stitches shifted to the left needle, yarn being taken at the back, again shifting of the 2 stitches to the right, yarn forward, 4 number of purl. So we are going to continue this particular row in the same sequence. See how easy it is. I would like to repeat here, this is a 4-row pattern which needs stitches in the multiple of 4 plus 2. So for this particular sample I have taken 4 7s are 28 plus 2, that is 30 stitches. And when you use this particular pattern for your project, you have to keep that in mind and take stitches in the multiple of 4 plus 2. So here I just worked 4 number of purl, shifting the 2 stitches into the left needle, yarn being taken back, again giving back the stitches, yarn forward, finally again 4 number of purl. Now let's shift the 2 stitches to the left needle, yarn being taken at the back, shifting back the stitches to the right needle, yarn forward, it's going to be a purl, and the edge stitch is going to be a knit. So this is how it looks. Now let's work the wrong side of the pattern. The edge stitch is slipped off, yarn backwards, a knit, yarn forward, 2 number of purl, yarn backwards, 2 number of knit. So this is the sequence for this particular row. So here I am almost at the end of the row, working 2 number of purl, yarn backwards, a knit, yarn forward. The edge stitch is going to be a purl. So here it is. See how beautiful the pattern looks, and it is so very easy to work. Let's work the pattern again so that it becomes easy for the freshers to get used to the pattern. The edge stitch is slipped off, and then I'm going to work 3 number of purl. So 3 number of purl plus the first stitch makes 4. Now shifting of the 2 stitches into the left needle, yarn being taken at the back, shifting of the stitches to the right needle, yarn forward, 4 number of purl. Once 4 number of purl is done, let's shift the 2 stitches to the left needle. We are going to take the yarn at the back. Now shifting back the stitches to the right needle, yarn forward, 4 number of purl. So this is the sequence that we are going to follow in this particular row. Very easy. I am showing the process very slowly so that it becomes easy for the freshers to follow the steps. Shifting of the 2 stitches, yarn being taken back, giving back the 2 stitches to the right needle, yarn forward, 4 number of purl. So let's continue working in the same process. Four number of purl is done, 2 stitches being shifted to the left needle, yarn being taken at the back, shifting of the 2 stitches to the right needle again, yarn forward. Finally 4 number of purl. Now again shifting of the 2 stitches to the left needle, yarn being taken back, shifting of the 2 stitches back to the right needle, yarn forward, a purl. The edge stitch is going to be a knit. So this brings our row to the end. This is how the pattern looks. And now the edge stitch is slipped off. After that I worked a knit. Yarn forward, we are just going to work 2 number of purl and 2 number of knit. Yarn forward, 2 number of purl, yarn backwards, 2 number of knit, yarn forward, 2 number of purl, yarn backwards, 2 number of knit. So I am going to continue working in this sequence till I reach the end of the row, and the best part is where there is a V stitch you need to work a knit, and where there are curly stitches we need to work the purl. So let's continue with our pattern. That is 2 number of knit, yarn forward, 2 number of purl, yarn backwards, 2 number of knit, yarn forward, 2 number of purl, yarn backwards. It's going to be a knit, and the edge stitch is going to be a purl. That is because we want a straight edge. Here it is. This is how a beautiful pattern looks. I hope you all will agree that it is indeed an easy pattern. It's going to look beautiful for sweaters, cardigans, pullovers, caps, socks, anything. And the best part is it is beginners friendly. Thank you my friends for staying till the end. If you all have liked the video, do give a thumbs up. Share it with your friends and family members. And if you are new to our channel, do consider subscribing and stay tuned for interesting videos. So till we meet again, it is bye-bye from all of us here at Plants Crochet Cooking and more. Bye-bye.